Hello everybody, this is Scott Dudley from Funnel Fellow Radio, and today my special guest is Allie Martin, who's based in Louisville, Kentucky, and she's a PR, media and digital marketing expert. Thanks for being on the show, Allie. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Thank you, Scott. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
You're welcome. Let's get stuck into it then. All right, so let's go back a bit, in the past and to your background and how you first got into marketing, digital ads and social media.
Yeah, so I have a background in broadcast journalism. That's what I went to college for. And I thought I was going to be a journalist, covering all these high profile stories and telling people's stories along the way. But I found that it was very chaotic, and I'm much more of kind of an in-depth person and really like to dive into stories. And when you're working as a journalist, they're kind of just like, go cover the story and be back in an hour and do your 3-minute piece. And I kind of wanted to do those just really in-depth pieces. And so I was turned on to PR because I realized that in public relations, you get to work for your company and really do that deep dive and then be able to tell that story to the media. So you're doing the same role, but you're doing it to help the media do their job better and help them do their job quickly, because that is what they're required to do. And as more journalists are downsizing, losing their jobs, and having to take on more roles, that's even more important now, more than ever. So I have worked with a variety of corporations, retail, nonprofits in that PR, social media, digital marketing space for about the last 10 years.
Excellent. Yeah, I had a bit of a look on your website, and there's some pretty cool logos on there of some well-known companies. So you've certainly got a bit of experience and varied industries as well.
Yeah, I would say most notably what people are going to recognize is Amazon. So I did
Yes.
manage um, Amazon's PR for one section of the United States, which was very like such a whirlwind, because it was just you're constantly traveling, but really amazing because I was able to go to those smaller communities where Amazon was going into, and you would see how excited the communities were that Amazon was coming to their space.
Cool.
They were going to have so many new jobs and just whole new opportunities. So yeah, that I would say that's probably the one that most people are going to recognize.
Yeah, well, I agree entirely. It's the first one I recognise, and it's probably the main one that I remembered. So yeah, you're exactly right there. So all right, if we fast forward to the present day, so tell me a bit about your agency, Fame and Fortune, and what services you offer with that.
Yeah, so Fame and Fortune was born out of the desire to want to help small businesses tell their story. I was born and raised in a small community called Shelbyville, and I would come back and I would say, "Hey, does anybody know of this business, or does anybody know of this business?" And people would say, "Well, yeah, I mean, I've heard of that, or I think somebody does this." And, I would go to their social media page and they wouldn't have posted for 3 years. So then you're thinking, well, are they in business, first of all? And, are they offering what I'm looking for? I have to do more digging. I have to do more work on the consumer's end.
Mm.
And I just felt like it was really important for these small businesses to realize that just a small item that they can do, a small task they can take care of, which is social media, can go miles for them, especially in a small community where there maybe is only one option for the consumers. So I created Fame and Fortune out of that desire to want to help small businesses tell their story and be able to effectively make more money.
Excellent. Okay, so with size-wise, is it just yourself, or do you have team members working for you as well? What's the setup?
Yeah, so I definitely do have some contractors that I work with on different pieces of the puzzle because I like to be the one-stop hub for these business owners. I don't want to, tell them to go a million other places to get everything
Okay.
they need done. So
Yep.
if they, need a logo done, I've got the graphic designer that we can connect with. I have the audio editors, the video editors, but I do work with a virtual assistant and myself. So I am very proud that I can kind of operate in this manner and keep other people employed and give them business while keeping my business lean.
Okay, so it's just you that's speaking with the actual clients, though, is it? And you sort of contract out some of the work.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. No worries. All right. So you
Yeah.
mentioned it's sort of it's small businesses, but is there like an ideal customer, a niche, or a target market that you're sort of more focused on, or is it sort of pretty broad?
Yeah, so it is interesting having worked in such a wide variety of industries. I have been able to work with a wide range of customers, but I would say those female entrepreneurs I really connect with and am able to work really well with.
Okay. All right. So, what advice would you have for listeners to convert fans into paying customers using social media?
And this is huge, Scott. I see so many people just like I'm posting on social media. What more do you want from me? Like
Why
really,
isn't it working?
what can I do? So
Yeah.
I think the biggest misconception is that just posting is going to get you those fans and turning those into customers.
Yeah.
But the biggest advice I can give is show the good, the bad, and the ugly. So many people are just showing that highlight reel. They're showing the pretty pictures. They're showing, well, here's our store. Here's the pretty setup that we have. Well, why aren't you showing all the boxes in the back room as you're unboxing them? Pull the items out of the box and show,
Mm,
like the first time you're seeing them, show them to your audience. That builds the trust and
yeah.
marketing and turning fans into customers is all about the know, like, and trust factor. I'm sure you've heard it a million times. I'm sure the
Yeah.
listeners have. So it's easy to know somebody. It's it's actually really easy to like somebody,
Mm,
but to trust somebody takes much more than that. It takes much more than pretty pictures. So it's building a relationship, and that requires you to show them the stuff that you don't really think people want to see by
yeah.
showing them the boxes in the back room as you're pulling them out. It's showing them the late nights when you're working at 11 o'clock and you're like, I'm not proud of this that I'm working at 11 o'clock, but I am. That's the
Mm.
kind of stuff that they want to see.
Yeah, so it sort of shows you're just a real person rather than trying to sort of like hide and cover up flaws and that. It's okay to be unokay, I guess.
I've even seen business owners cry on their Instagram
Oh,
stories
okay,
and their
interesting.
follower count shoots up. I mean, that it seems very counterintuitive. And for somebody like me who is not very emotional and doesn't like to show emotion, I would be a little uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
But there's one in particular that I'm thinking about. And every time she's either overwhelmed with emotion or she has found out something that has really impacted her, she will get on stories and cry through it as she's talking about it. And her follower count and her engagement count is through the roof.
Okay, interesting. All right, so on the topic of clients, tell us about one of your most successful marketing campaigns and why you believed it performed so well.
That's a great question. And it's something I think we should all do more often, go back and look at what's worked well and try to replicate that.
Yeah.
I have to go back to my example of Amazon, just because obviously they are Amazon,
Mm.
and it didn't work just because of who they are. Um, it
Yep.
worked because they give back to their local communities. So they don't ever look to market or do anything in any of their smaller communities without giving back. And I think that really sets the tone for the way you're perceived. And it also sets the tone for how you operate. Like you don't ever expect it to be a one sided take, 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 like buy from me, buy from me, buy from me.
Yes. Yes.
It's here, I'm going to help you. And that's, again, goes back to that know, like, and trust factor. They can trust you because you've given to them. So then you almost feel like you owe them by giving, by purchasing from them and giving back in your way. So I really think that's a good model to live by. And I think that's something the listeners can really take from, it's just really always think about ways that you can continue to give back to your customers and not always expect it to be something where they're purchasing from you.
Yeah, agree. I think it's also important if they can see that you've got a mission and a purpose as well, and it's a genuine mission and purpose, then they're going to be more likely to be attracted to what you're doing as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
It humanizes the brand and makes it so that you can connect more with it.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right then. So what are your favorite online tools and platforms that you use to run your business?
Yes. Okay. So this one that I have been using for almost a year now, I think it really helps with social media. It's a company called Social Squares, and it's essentially a stock photo company. But what I really like about it is for these brands that I'm working with, when I say, you need to be posting more, and they
Mm.
say, I don't have anything to post. I am referring them to websites like Social Squares where they're able to really utilize those images that they have, and then they can just write their own captions. So many people
Okay.
don't post on social media because they don't have an image to post. And especially if you have a business that's service based where you don't really have a lot of graphics, like even myself in particular, I utilize this business because it's really hard to show what I do when I'm just on a computer all day.
That's true.
So utilizing some type of stock photos is really helpful when you're posting to social media, just to get your message out there and not use the excuse, I don't have a photo to post. And then I really like ClickUp. It's great for task management and working with the contractors that I work with to assign different projects.
Yeah, I've heard a few people like ClickUp. I've never actually used that myself, but that's come out recently, I think, and yeah, that's quite popular. So that's interesting.
Just be prepared, Scott. You're going to go down a rabbit hole.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So, what are some of the biggest and most common mistakes that you see your clients making?
Not posting. I think that is the biggest and most common. Um, People will assume that something will just come to mind, that they will just that they will just have this, be overcome with inspiration, and they will be able to go to their platform of choice and just share that inspiration and that knowledge. And that's not going to happen because we all
Mm.
have a million things to do on our to-do list. And the last thing that's going to happen is you're just going to come to, realize this post and then be able to take 10 minutes and sit down and post it.
Mm.
Really the way that I combat this mistake is I say schedule an hour or two every month and schedule out your content for the month ahead. And it's truly been a game changer for people. I mean, it just sounds so silly that you would write a post to post on Instagram for 3 weeks from now,
Mm.
but really the inspiration and the knowledge that you have now to share is the same now as it's going to be 3 weeks from now. And why not just take that dedicated time, schedule it out, and then you're not having to think about it. It's all about automation, and so many people try to make things difficult, and they try to "Oh, I can do that, I can do it," without realizing that it actually takes you 10 times longer than if you had just automated it. So, scheduling out your content is just a way to automate a part of your marketing, and it will make your life easier, and it will ensure that you have regular content appearing on your platforms.
Yeah, and especially if it only takes 1 or 2 hours per month. I mean, everybody can find an hour or two per month to do that. So there's really not any excuse, is there, when you look at it that way?
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah. So, just out of interest, what would you say is your favourite or the most effective social media platform that you like the most?
I use Planoly, and I've heard other people, use Later, and there's several out there that I'm sure do a fine job. The thing that I want to kind of just remind listeners of is that whenever you are using a scheduling software, make sure it's one that is a partner with Instagram or Facebook or Twitter,
Ah,
whatever
okay.
platform you're scheduling with, because that will make sure your algorithm doesn't get skewed and your posts aren't appearing less. So if they're an official partner with those platforms, then Instagram or Facebook or Twitter will not discriminate by you posting through those platforms. So I think that's a concern I hear quite a bit is, well, won't my posts be docked, or won't
Yeah.
I it won't be shown to as many people if I'm using one of those. And if you're using one that's not an official partner, possibly, but just find one that's an official partner and make life easier for everybody.
Okay, and just a question that's come to mind, on top of social media, what about email? Do you do much email with your clients as well, or is it you don't really do much of that?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a piece, and I think funnels are becoming the thing that everybody is like, I need to do that. I need to
Yeah,
do and get into the funnel game.
yeah,
And so I've been using Flowdesk with a lot of my clients. It's a newer platform; it's still in beta, but I know even MailChimp has been able to add the ability to incorporate funnels, and
yeah, it's true.
so that's definitely where I feel like the industry is headed.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so what is the biggest challenge that you consistently have to face while running your agency?
I think smoothing out the highs and the lows. When you are an agency owner, you are at the mercy of the market.
Yeah,
So over the last year, I set my goals, and luckily I did still hit my revenue goals for the year. But you know, I wonder myself where I would have been if we did not have the pandemic and we
ah,
weren't at the mercy of a market dipping down, because I definitely had customers that said, I have to hit pause. I'm not open. I, have to. I had they were thinking about doing a big marketing rebrand, maybe redesigning their website, and then had to pause. So there was quite a bit of that, and so I truly do wonder what life would be like if we didn't have the pandemic this year. But
mm,
so I think that's the biggest challenge that I see is kind of when you're really busy, you're really busy. And
yeah,
when it slows down, it really slows down. There's never seems to be just this middle ground. So that's been the thing for me. But there's tools and processes that I'm working through to really try to smooth that out.
yeah, fair enough. All right, sounds good. So, with an eye to the future, what are you curious about or researching right now regarding digital marketing or social media?
Yeah. Okay. So there's two things on my mind right now, Scott. Um, Hashtags
Ah, okay.
used to be the thing that everybody would say, make sure you use your hashtags. And on
Yep.
Instagram, I would see businesses, posting one or two hashtags, and I'd say, use all 30. You have 30 to use them all. I will say, just in the last week or two, there has been all this conversation of if you use hashtags being shadow banned, and then that Instagram's going to just do away with hashtags and not allow your content to be seen. So that's something I keeping my eye on, because I definitely think that changes a little bit of strategy for people
Yeah, for
if
sure.
if they're taking those away. But
Yep.
then the other thing that's just really, I think, since the election for the United States, Parlor is a new social media platform that is really trying to allow users to leave Facebook and have a platform where they can post their thoughts openly and without risk of being shut down or blocked. So,
Yep.
there's been a lot of criticism of Facebook and Twitter and even Instagram of kind of blocking content that's coming
Yeah.
from from users. And so Parler is really that platform that's allowing people to leave and be able to speak freely. So that's interesting because I've seen a mass exodus of individuals leaving Facebook to go to Parler. So we'll see if that really holds true or if everybody's just going to come back to Facebook.
Well, that's interesting. I've never even heard of Parler, but yeah, I mean, if they don't censor the posts or like the tweets on Twitter, then yeah, that's a huge advantage. I mean, that's the way it should be, really. I think it stinks because who's to say what's true and what's not true and what should be posted and what shouldn't be? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that to me, that's the whole point of social media. Is
yeah, that's right. Yes.
No one's censoring me. I'm having a conversation with you. So why is it different than when I'm having it online? I mean, that's the whole social part of social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree completely. Okay, so who are your marketing idols or the biggest influences on your career?
Oh, yeah. So I'm a fangirl of lots of marketing idols. I would say the two that come to mind most recently, Allie is really the queen of small offers and utilizing your funnel to be able to sell those small offers to customers and really bring this great return. I also think of Brandy Mouse. She is a Facebook ad strategist and teaches others how to run Facebook ads. And she's been a big impact and big inspiration in my career, and just how she operates a very lean business and how you can as well, operate a very lean business so that you are bringing home the most profit possible.
Excellent. Okay, cool. All right, then, so just to wrap this up, where can people go to find out more about your services and or your products? Because I noticed you have actually got a couple of products on your site.
Yeah, I do. I have some downloadables that would be great for people starting out and maybe aren't wanting to invest in hiring somebody. They can kind of do it themselves. You can find me on Instagram at the Allie Martin, or you can find me on my website, iwantfamefortune.com.
Excellent. All right, so thanks very much for sharing those insights. That was a blast. I really enjoyed it, Allie. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Scott. It was so fun.
No problem. All right, take care. See you later.